Week 5 recap, remember to please leave a like, and let's get into it. Thursday Night Football, Colts at Broncos gave us the worst primetime game I may have ever watched. Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson looked like CFL quarterbacks, and neither team scored a touchdown. Russell Wilson threw a very costly interception in the middle of the fourth quarter that took away 3 points in field goal range. As time expired, the Colts made a field goal to send it to overtime. The Colts took a 3-point lead in overtime on a 48-yard field goal, and Russell Wilson on fourth down had a chance to win it, but threw an incompletion to Courtland Sutton. The Colts won a game that neither team deserved to win. Giants at Packers, the London game. After Green Bay took a 17-3 lead in the second quarter, it looked like the undermanned Giants were in for a long day. Before halftime, the Giants had a 2-yard rushing touchdown from their tight end Daniel Bellinger to make it a 7-point game, but in the second half, it was all Giants. Running backs Gary Brightwell and Saquon Barkley scored 2-yard touchdowns to give the Giants a 27-20 lead. On fourth down 7, close to the end zone, Aaron Rodgers had a pass batted down at the line by Xavier McKinney, and the Giants shocked the world on Sunday morning. Daniel Jones outduels Aaron Rodgers just like we all expected. Steelers at Bills. On the third play from scrimmage, Josh Allen found his wide receiver Gabe Davis for a 98-yard touchdown, the longest of the season so far. And the Bills could have stopped scoring right there because the Steelers only had 3 points the entire game. But Josh Allen ran up the score, having 424 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. To top it off in the fourth quarter, James Cook, brother of Dalvin, rushed for a 24-yard touchdown to make it 38-3, and that was the final score. Chargers at Browns, a pretty interesting game. Cleveland went up 14-0 on a Nick Chubb touchdown and Amari Cooper, but by the second quarter, the Chargers took the lead back 17-14 after Justin Herbert found Austin Eckler for a 12-yard touchdown. However, another Nick Chubb touchdown gave the Browns a 4-point lead heading into halftime. In the third quarter, the Chargers opened up on a 10-0 run, taking the lead back 27-21. Kareem Hunt punched in a 2-yard touchdown for the Browns, giving them a 1-point lead. But in the fourth quarter, the Chargers had another field goal, this one from 27 yards to give them a 2-point advantage. And now comes the fun part. One of the most controversial plays of this weekend was the Chargers head coach Brandon Staley going for it on 4th and 1 near midfield, up by 2 with 1:14 to go. A pass to Mike Williams fell incomplete, and the Browns got the ball back in Chargers territory. The Browns gave their rookie kicker Cade York, who was the only kicker drafted this year, a 54-yard attempt to win the game, but he missed it wide right, his second missed field goal of the day. The Chargers escaped Cleveland with a narrow victory. Texans at Jaguars. Just when we thought the Jaguars might be legit, they ran into the buzzsaw of the Houston Texans. They literally can't beat them for some reason. Despite being 7-point favorites, it was the Texans who won by 7, upsetting the Jaguars on their home field. Rookie running back Dameon Pierce carried the load for the Texans and even had a run in this game that would make Marshawn Lynch very proud. Trevor Lawrence threw one of the worst red zone interceptions you'll ever see while the game was tied at 6-6, and the Jaguars offense as a whole was terrible. Houston gets their first win of the year. Bears at Vikings. After going up 21-3 in the second quarter, Vikings fans probably thought this would be a very easy win. But of course, you know what happens next, and they let the Bears back in the game. Kirk Cousins did start the game out amazing, but the Bears offense stole the show in the second half. Before halftime, David Montgomery had a touchdown to make it an 11-point game. Justin Fields found Velus Jones for a 9-yard touchdown to make it a 5-point game, and 2 Cairo Santos field goals, including a 51-yarder, gave the Bears a 1-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But of course, non-prime time, Kirk Cousins led a touchdown drive, and he ran in a touchdown himself to give the Vikings a 29-22 victory. The Vikes are now 4-1. Lions at Patriots. Bill Belichick's defense held the number 1 ranked offense heading into week 5 to 0 points. After a 6-0 Patriots lead, the turning point was a Jared Goff sack fumble from Matthew Judon, returned 59 yards by Kyle Duggar. There were 5 Nick Folk field goals in this game, but Bailey Zappi passed to Jacoby Myers for 24 yards, making it a 26-0 lead. The Patriots improved to 2-3 after a 29-0 shutout. Seahawks at Saints. Geno Smith continues to have a fabulous season. 3 touchdowns, no picks, and over 260 yards passing. But the story in this game was Taysom Hill. Hill completed his only throw for a passing touchdown of 22 yards, but on the ground he had 112 yards on 9 carries and 3 rushing touchdowns. That's 4 total touchdowns for Taysom Hill. After a perfect Geno Smith pass to Tyler Lockett for 40 yards in the early fourth, the Seahawks were down by 6. Then a Kenneth Walker 69-yard rushing touchdown gave the Seahawks a 1-point lead. But with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it was Taysom Hill who had a 60-yard rushing touchdown to give the Saints a 39-32 lead. The Saints get themselves a home victory going to 2-3. Dolphins at Jets. The Dolphins were down to their second-string quarterback, but even he got hurt as Teddy Bridgewater left this game early in the first quarter with a concussion. After a safety and a field goal, the Jets had a 1-yard Michael Carter touchdown to make it 12-0. Raheem Mostert's 12-yard touchdown made it a 5-point game for the Dolphins. In the late second, Zach Wilson had a 5-yard rushing touchdown on 3rd and 5. In the third quarter, the Dolphins cut it to a 2-point game, but the fourth quarter was all Jets. Michael Carter had another 1-yard touchdown, making it a 9-point lead. Breece Hall, who had a monster day, had a 5-yard touchdown to make it 33-17, and Braxton Berrios' rushing touchdown made it 40-17 Jets. Falcons at Buccaneers. Tom Brady had never lost to the Falcons in his career, and that trend continues. Tampa went up 21-0 in the third quarter on 2 Leonard Fournette touchdowns and 2 Ryan and suck up field goals, but down 21-0 in the fourth, the Falcons made it a bit interesting. Avery Williams had an 8-yard touchdown, and Marcus Mariota found Zacchaeus for a 19-yard touchdown, cutting it to 15-21. However, after an incomplete pass on 3rd and 5, Falcons D lineman Grady Jarrett had a roughing the passer on Tom Brady, which was a highly criticized call. Definitely a questionable call. With that penalty, the Bucs drive prolonged, and that was the game. Titans at Commanders. A game that came down to the wire started with a Ryan Tannehill passing touchdown to Dontrell Hilliard for 13 yards. A Joey Sly field goal and a Carson Wentz bomb to Diami Brown made it 10-7 Washington. Before halftime, Derrick Henry punched in a 1-yard touchdown to give the Tennessee Titans a 14-10 lead, but in the third quarter, Carson Wentz found Diami Brown again, who had 2 catches this game for 2 touchdowns. This one was a 30-yarder, giving them a 17-14 lead. However, late in the third, Derrick Henry rushed for another 1-yard touchdown, giving the Titans another 4-point lead. The fourth quarter gave us no scoring, but Washington came down to the 2-yard line of Tennessee, and Carson Wentz on one of the final plays of the game was intercepted by David Long Jr., and that was the game. A rough one for Carson Wentz, who had looked better than he did the past couple weeks. 49ers at Panthers. A game that would end up being Matt Rule's final game as the Panthers head coach did not go so well for Carolina. Jimmy G found Tevin Coleman, who I had no idea was still on the Niners, and a Robbie Gould field goal made it 10-0. Right before halftime, a terrible Baker Mayfield interception was returned by Emmanuel Mosley for 41 yards and a touchdown. A CMC rushing touchdown for 19 yards made it a 17-9 ball game in the third quarter, but Garoppolo found Deebo Samuel to answer on a 4-yard touchdown, making it 24-9. Jeff Wilson's 1-yard touchdown made it 30-12, and that was pretty much it. Matt Rule's Panthers career ends with an 11-27 record. However, with Matt Rule's contract being 7 years and only 3.5 years into it, Panthers still owe him well over $40 million, so good for Matt Rule. Eagles at Cardinals. Running back Jalen Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns to make it 14-0 Eagles early. In the second, Kyler Murray found Marquise Brown for a 25-yard touchdown, and a Matt Amendola field goal made it 14-10 at the half. In the second half, the Cardinals got an 11-yard touchdown from Eno Benjamin, making it a tie game at 17-17, but Cameron Dicker the kicker, had a 23-yard field goal, making it 20-17 Eagles with just under 2 minutes left. Kyler Murray did get the Cardinals back in field goal range and set up his backup kicker Matt Amendola for a 43-yard field goal, and of course, he missed it. The Eagles survived with a 3-point victory and still remain undefeated. Where was Matt Prater when you needed him? Cowboys at Rams. The scoring started with a defensive touchdown by the Cowboys as Dorrance Armstrong sacked Matthew Stafford, and DeMarcus Lawrence returned at 19 yards to give the Cowboys a 6-0 lead. In the second quarter, Matthew Stafford had Cooper Kupp on a 75-yard touchdown on a one-handed catch, making it 9-10. But just under 2 minutes later, Tony Pollard had a 57-yard rushing touchdown, making it 16-10 Dallas. The only scoring in the second half was a couple of field goals by Brett Maher, and the Cowboys won 22-10. A big win for Dallas as the Rams offense looks absolutely putrid so far. Bengals at Ravens. A Tucker field goal and a Mark Andrews touchdown made it 10-0 Baltimore in the early second quarter, but before halftime, the Bengals got it tied at 10 as Joe Burrow found Hayden Hurst for a 19-yard touchdown, revenge game, and Evan McPherson made a 40-yard field goal. The second half offense for the Ravens was all Justin Tucker field goals. He made 3 of them, and in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go, Joe Burrow had a quarterback sneak, giving the Bengals a 1-point lead. But of course, the Ravens got downfield and got in field goal range for Justin Tucker, and he made a 43-yard game winner as time expired. Tough loss for Cincinnati. Raiders at Chiefs. Las Vegas jumped out to a 17-0 lead on a Daniel Carlson field goal, Josh Jacobs 1-yard touchdown, and Devontae Adams 58-yard touchdown on 4th and 1. But getting up early in Kansas City is no guarantee, just ask Bill O'Brien. Mahomes found Travis Kelce to make it 17-7, then Daniel Carlson and Matthew Wright exchanged field goals, making it 20-10 Raiders at half. The third quarter gave us 2 more Travis Kelce touchdowns, giving him 3 on the day at that point, and in the middle of the fourth quarter, Mahomes found Kelce for his 4th touchdown of the game, only having 25 receiving yards. With 4 minutes to go on 3rd and 6, Carr found Devontae Adams for his 2nd long touchdown of the day, but Josh McDaniels got a bit cute and went for 2, and unfortunately the Raiders did not convert. Down by 1, the Raiders got a stop when they needed it, but on the Raiders drive to get in the field goal range on 4th and short, they threw an incompletion as 2 Raiders receivers got tied up, and the Chiefs held on to win at home. The Raiders dropped to 1-4.